Hi, everyone. Amazing to have you all here again on Flourish by Design TV. This is a good news channel where I'm bringing you amazing, creative, courageous people who are really stepping out of their comfort zone and bringing their gifts and talents to solving some of the major problems that we have in the world. I'm your host, Caroline, and I'm so happy to have Trish Kennedy with me here today. And it's so exciting to have you here, Trish, because Trish, everyone, has just published a new book, which is actually a reprint, but it's hot off the press from Thursday. And we're just delighted to have you here, Trish. And so I know you're very busy. I'm so delighted that you've taken time out to talk to us about this new fabulous book that you have ready just for Christmas.
Thanks, Caroline. I'm delighted to be here.
Oh, I'm so thrilled because I just give people a little bit of a background story to our connection. We're kind of COVID buddies. We didn't really know each other until during COVID. We have a mutual friend who's called Brian Barnes, who's from Brian Barnes Wellbeing. And during COVID, we kind of was cracking the idea of Mind You, which he has for a podcast series. And I was one of the first guests on his podcast, and so was Trish. And when I heard Trish's voice on the podcast, I actually have the thing about voices, and I just thought, I want to get to know her. I just love what you had to say about children, and about you work with intellectual disabilities. And then we got talking over Zoom, became friendly, and then we met up, and you had told me about this fabulous book that you had about called Róisín's Journey. And now you had published it before, and now you've republished it. So how does it feel today, Trish, when you're just kind of coming down from the high of having it published?
I'm delighted. It's just, I always wanted to redo it, getting everything in my own kind of, name or whatever. But I just, I feel like, oh God, this is it now. And it's different because it was 8 years ago, nearly 9 years ago. And I have so much more experience now, which the book links in with. It's so strange. I don't believe in coincidences, but it's just so strange that it all works into place kind of thing. Like, because when I started the book, I was working with children and I had my own play school and different things like that. And I've done child psychology and touched on that. But now I've more experience. Like I've worked in the mental health section. I've, work with intellectual disability. I teach mindfulness. So it's just all, it's weird because that's what the book is kind of all really for,
It's all kind of coming together in one place, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
And for everybody, Trish is an energy healer also and a Reiki master. And so you've many different kind of skills that you bring to the book, and it all kind of comes through, because I know we talked about it around this time last year first. I mean, when we met first, you were looking to maybe redesign it and get it reprinted. And you were looking at, including like the chakra colors in the book and everything. And then explain to people why that is, and how do you feel like, with your experience of working with children, how you feel that might benefit them?
I just think working in Reiki and energy healing, really energy alone, anybody, not only children, but everybody picks up on energies. And I think colour is huge, and it changes our moods. If you think of it, if you wore black all the time, I love black, but if you wear it all the time without a bit of a colour, it's dull or whatever. But now what I mean by that is you add colour. Like, I'll give you an example. I was walking in Naas one of the days a few weeks ago, and I have a lovely pink cardigan. It's a luminous kind of pink, and the amount of people that didn't even know were going, "Oh my God, I love your top," and I go, "Really? Oh, thank you." I go, "Thank you." It was so weird, but it was literally the color, and I knew that it was like it was a welcoming color or something. It just had, the way they say pink is for love. But yeah, with the chakra colors especially, and that's why I went purple on for the cover this time. And I threw in the chakra colors going through the clouds, and I wanted to kind of blend it all. So and as the child or the adult or whoever is reading the book, they're kind of relaxed while they're reading it,
Yeah, it's so true. And that's why it kind of links with we connected really over the Rainbow Warrior as well, because it's the same kind of colors and same kind of idea as well. Could you show people the cover of the book there?
Yeah, of course. So that's
gorgeous.
the cover. And
And the illustrations, I know you are really kind of very close to the illustrations and what everything means. And there's a
yeah,
meaning behind all of the pictures, and it's just beautiful. And I know you've added in more color into the inside of it since
yeah,
the second edition. You were just talking before we came on, which, like you said, like it's, from color psychology and,
yeah,
being a design lecturer, like it's all created. It has, like you said, a psychological effect on us, like, and
yeah,
especially children. It can make change your
100%.
mood changer, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. Like, even the illustrations, I had a local girl design it for me years ago, and it was just the two of us connected. She knew nearly what I wanted, the kind of way, even before I said it. And I did all the color ins, so I colored everything in it. So everything in that is handmade as such, because I
Yeah.
wanted to make it a book that everyone would kind of look at it and go, isn't that like they felt at home looking at it nearly? So like I'll give you an example. Like there's a picture there now where the fairy. Sorry, I'm going the other way. Where the fairy comes visits Róisín. All right, and I wanted to emphasize the colours, but I just wanted to make them kind of real but gentle, and I just wanted to kind of add that character to it, because I think it just makes it more homely or something,
Yeah, there's a real kind of texture to it when you look at the drawings, and you can see the way you've kind of, like you said, hand drawn. It's got that lovely kind of
Yeah.
authentic feel to it. It's got a gorgeous, I don't know, sense. I get a lovely sense from it.
Oh,
Very, very
thanks.
authentic. You're really in it, like that. I love books when I read it, or when you experience it, and it's like
Yeah.
the author is coming through. I love that.
Oh,
There's something
yeah.
beautiful about that. That it's not too perfect in one that it's like,
Yeah.
sometimes from a design point of view, you can per- make something too perfect nearly, that it's it's not cold, but it doesn't have that realness to it.
No, absolutely.
Yeah,
And I agree, because I love books, and I
yeah.
threw in colour ins as well. So
Oh,
like
gorgeous.
I want to make the child feel that they could colour in anything they want. And
Mm,
like, you can either photocopy them, get photocopies or whatever. So you have your book the way you want it, or colour it in, it's your book, whatever. So I wanted it to make it their own. So they
beautiful.
kind of had that. So I only put in a few colorings of the pictures, but I just felt it was something, especially if a child is anxious or whatever. It's just something, yourself to color in. It's just you find it very relaxing yourself. It's therapeutic, really. So I just wanted to I was trying to think of everything to kind of do,
Yes, exactly, to
with it.
include in it, that would help them.
Yeah.
And what was your inspiration for working with children, even in the background? You've a lot of
Oh,
experience. I know you had a play center as well.
yeah.
So you have, what I find that is unique about the book as well, that it's not just, coming out of your imagination, it's coming out of your experience of
Oh,
working
yeah.
with children, and I think that's what's really important. And I know you're interested in,
Yeah.
well-being
Yeah.
centers, getting in touch, getting in contact with you about the book as well, because it's very much
Yeah.
therapeutic book, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm hoping, and that's really what I wanted it as, a well-being book, and it's like I was saying to you, when I first did it, I had this motto: if I just reach one child, I'll be happy. Whereas now I'm going, no, I want to reach more than one child. I want to reach someone, not even children. You see, this is the thing. I thought I wrote it for just children, but now that I've experienced with working with adults with intellectual disability and people in mental health, and even just your own stuff, that you kind of think, God, when I was a child I used to do that, or I do that even now. And it's kind of like, it's so lovely that this book is actually now fitting for everything. So I suppose when I like, I worked with children, do you know what I mean? And I always wanted to work with children. I originally wanted to be a nurse, but I went ahead and I worked with children, and I just, every time I worked with kids, I just seemed to draw in children with special needs as well, to just or special situations, if you understand what I mean.
Mm.
And it was lovely. I just I just could sit in the middle of them and just understand them, and I loved it, and I was so passionate about it. And then, you know, I've experienced now working with adults with intellectual disability and people with anxiety and depression and stuff like that. And I myself had anxiety, so I know what that feels like. And I'm able to share that experience, which makes someone else feel more open to talk about it and know they're not alone, because they're not. You know, we all have something, we, you know, just find it hard to do, you know. So yeah, so I just kind of wanted to touch on that. So I feel the book has I'm hoping has a wide field, that someone, we could just all look at it, you know, even as a parent, even as a person, just, you know, that likes to read easy books, just to get something out of it. So that's what I'm hoping anyway.
Yeah, there's a real magical feel to it, though. I think when you read it, like, it's got that special, I don't know, there's something about children's books, you know, when I had my kids small, and there's
Yeah,
something about the simplicity of a story that can cut through all the noise, you know? You can
yeah,
hear a lot of, you know, statistics and a lot of, you know, I suppose, professionals giving you advice about well-being and things like that. But it's not until you're in that kind of relaxed state. That's
yeah,
why I wrote The Rainbow Warrior as well. I thought to myself, you know, when you're relaxed and you have your child on your knee and you're reading a story with them and you're in that
yeah,
lovely environment, it's like there's something special that can kind of, it's that connection between the child
yeah,
and the parent. And then also sometimes when you're reading to the child, the message is going into the parent more than the child, you know? You
100%.
get the chance to kind of go, wow, actually, you
Yeah,
know, we learn kind of the basic, beautiful messages of life kind of thing, you know, the
yeah,
magic and the wonder and the color and things that we've forgotten, you know, as you
yeah,
know, and we get in touch with our inner child nearly, you know, through that story, you know. And I just, when
yeah,
I read Róisín's journey way back like a year ago before you've done the kind of visual changes to it. Like, I just think it was a
yeah,
beautiful, beautiful story, really connected. And it's hard to get that. It's hard to get that kind
mm,
of the magic in a story, you know, that kind of just hits home to you and you go away feeling better from it and it stays with you. You know, that's
yeah.
always a sign that, you know, like a movie or a story, anything that can be just connects and then you'll always kind of remember it. And sometimes
Oh,
like words from it might come back to you again, you know, you
yeah,
ever read something like that? So there has
yeah.
a really lasting kind of appeal to it, as well as, you know, the beautiful colors and
Uh,
the lovely writing. And is there any part of it, Trish, that you'd like to read for us? That you'd
yeah,
like to pick out?
I kind of touched on sensory issues in it as well, you know, more
Mhm,
awareness. And obviously, Róisín, I suppose, to give you a background of it, like Róisín has anxiety, you know, and it doesn't say in the book, and I'm hoping people will read between the lines as they're reading it. And obviously, as an adult or a parent reading it, or someone, you know, that a carer would read it, they'll see what the book is about. But I kind of
mm,
done it in a setting that a child can get lost in it, an adult can get lost in it. But I also wanted to bring in my mindfulness techniques. I could teach them how to breathe, because none of us breathe properly at times, not none of us, but we sometimes, especially if we're, you know, frustrated or agitated, we breathe into our mouths and out through our nose, and we get even more agitated. So I suppose I teach mindfulness as well. So I wanted to bring that technique in. And so in it, she is visited by a fairy, but you can look at it like that as a child's view. She's been visited by a fairy, and the fairy is her friend and teaches her it's okay to feel like you do. And, you know, if you breathe this way, it might work. And she kind of brings in a bit of character in it. But then if you look at it as an adult's point of view, reading it to their child or a carer or whatever, I'm hoping they'll get what I'm doing is I'm actually trying to teach the child how to breathe properly, how to
mm.
do mindfulness, and, you know, and that's really the method behind it as well. But I
Yeah,
wanted to make
true.
aware
Yeah.
of sensations that people feel, everybody, not just children, because we all have sensory issues. I know me, for one, I don't like labels on anything. I
Mm.
can't stand labels, to drive me crazy. So I just cut them off. They're gone. I have to, or else my skin, I don't know what it is, just itching me or something. So that was one of the things I suppose I brought into it as well. And I was trying to think of other triggers, you know what I mean? Like, you know, themes and stuff like that. So I kind of brought that in as well. So I'm hoping.
An extra sensitivity, isn't it? You know, like sensitivity about everything, like noise and, you know, then
sensory issues. Yeah,
exactly. You know, and so that's beautiful. And you know, I suppose for children, they learn best when they're relaxed and they're enjoying something. You know, so enjoying the story, they don't realize they're actually learning.
Exactly.
Yeah,
it's not like it's like, you know, it's not like it's a teaching. They're actually getting lost in the actual storyline. But I'm hoping, and in the middle of it, then they're kind of going, "Oh, I feel relaxed," because they're actually learning, because it's going subconsciously into their mind that this is really how you breathe properly. This is how you should breathe properly, so you can, you know, get rid of any anxiety or worries. So that, I suppose, is the method behind it all as well. You know. So I was trying to think of everything.
That's clever, you know? Yeah, and then, you know, especially with the children's book, if they love it, they'll read it over and over and over and over and over and over again.
Yeah, because when I wrote it, like, my children were young enough, you know, and my youngest, who's 11 now, was only 2, you know what I mean? And she loves it. She knows it off by heart. Like, and it was nice, she'd say, "Can I just read Róisín's Journey, Mum?" And she'd read it out, no problem. And I love that. Because even now, she was saying it to me yesterday. She says, "I still remember that story, Mum. I'm going to read it again." So it was lovely feeling, like, you know.
Gorgeous.
So I didn't want to change the storyline. Do you know what I mean? I wanted to keep that, because that was the whole method behind it all, you know?
Yeah. Will you read a little for us then, please?
Yeah, of course.
A taster.
I'm trying to find the page now that I tell you what I'll read. I'll read the part where she's got sensory kind of things going on for her and she doesn't know what's going on. So, right. So let me read. Sorry now. Okay, I read this. I actually read it, part of it today in my circle that I teach mindfulness to the adults with intellectual disability, and I read this part and they were amazing. Their actual response to it was so beautiful. And even one goes, "I actually identify with Róisín there now," and I was going, "I love this, like, it's so good," and you know, and it was a pleasure to read it to them even, you know.
Oh, I know.
So I'll show you the picture then. This is, sorry now.
Oh, gorgeous pink.
Yeah, so this is her in her bedroom. So she's feeling a little bit out of place or whatever. So Róisín watched out her bedroom window as the trees swayed in the wind. She longed to go outside. Would she ever go to the playground where she could make friends? A little while later, Róisín sat by the window. There she had the cosiest soft cushions. They felt so comfortable and warm beneath her. As usual, she gazed out her bedroom window. Róisín was fed up reading books, although she found them so fascinating. Róisín wished she had friends to share her ties and ideas with. Oh, if only other little girls felt like she did. Róisín had lovely brown hair. It was so pretty. She didn't like getting it tied up. It frustrated her. She sometimes didn't understand why she felt this way, but she would get very annoyed and anxious. When Mum put tight things in her hair, she felt irritated. Mum loved to dress Róisín in her favourite outfits. She would hang each outfit separately. Róisín liked that. She would line up all her clothes and put her pink dresses together, and her orange tops had to go together too. Róisín loved to colour. As Róisín coloured, she found herself deep in thought. Maybe nobody likes me. Are there any other children like me? Róisín thought to herself. So, and there's where there's a colour in, you know, for someone that can colour then. So and that's why I suppose I brought in the part where I said Róisín likes to colour, you know. Yeah. So the more intense she thought, the more Róisín became annoyed. Mum had left out her pretty blue dress with her lovely silky tights. As Róisín dressed herself, she pulled up her tights. Not long after, she noticed she became irritated. She continued to get dressed. Her mum left out her favourite shoes. Róisín started to feel itchy. She started scratching her back. The labels started to itch. She noticed her back was getting more and more irritated. Labels. Why did you need labels? Seams. Why did you need seams? She thought to herself. Why can't Mum see how I get so itchy? I'll just read this part then as well. So here she is sitting at the table now, and she's scratching and getting annoyed. Róisín became a little bit anxious. She really needed to find a different pair. Oh, I need to find something else. Maybe Mum would understand. If only I knew how to tell her, she thought to herself. Mum called Róisín for her lunch. As she was eating her favourite meals, she noticed Mum had added vegetables, and they were a little lumpy. Oh, how she hated the texture of them. They made her feel very strange. They gave her a yucky feeling that wasn't very nice. The feeling was different to the taste. But how was she ever going to explain that to her mum? So, it kind of is, and it goes on, and it's just like, and now she's having kind of, she's not handling it well. I'll just read that page and then I'll finish off with it, so you get the gist of it.
Oh, it's so beautiful, Trish.
Thank you. So if only Mum knew, she thought. Between the scratchy labels and the yucky, lumpy vegetables, poor Róisín was so really very miserable. Róisín's hands and bodies felt funny, and she became very frustrated. Róisín threw herself on the floor and started to scream and shout with worry. Mum rushed over, concerned, as Róisín was upset. She soon noticed Róisín's back was scratched and realised the labels from her clothing was irritating her skin. Mum held Róisín as she soon settled down and relaxed. As time went on, Mum realised that there were a number of things that irritated Róisín. There were certain foods that Róisín had huge issues with eating, and there definitely could not be any lumps in her vegetables. So it kind of goes on like that, and it leads into sensory issues kind of for the child that no one would have known, you know what I mean? And, so...
Oh, Trish, I tell you, I felt every bit of that, to be quite honest. I was there with her and I could feel every single thing.
Yeah.
Think about it, like you said, it's like as if somebody's empathizing with you, and I can see my own daughter was like that.
Yeah.
I was probably like that when I was a child, and especially, I love the words that you use to describe all the, like even at the start, the soft cushion and the descriptive words.
Thank you.
Feel the sensory contrasting textures and stuff like that, and it's amazing how, I suppose, just even hearing that, you can empathize, and to hear you writing that, it's like somebody understands me, and somebody, and I suppose, especially for a child, and especially when you can't communicate that, or you can't relate
Absolutely.
that,
Because that's the thing, a lot of a lot of people can't express themselves. They don't know how to. They don't know how to put it into words. So
because they think that's normal. If you think it's normal for you to feel uncomfortable, and then when you don't realize that other people don't feel uncomfortable because of those things, you don't have even a language for it.
No.
And, it's beautiful to hear that, and like then, I know what I feel when I hear that as well is that, some mums or some carers, people mightn't, if they're not as in tune with that, you might just think that they're being naughty,
Absolutely, yeah. And that, I think,
giving out to them and scolding them and whatever, punishing them. And
absolutely. Throwing a tantrum, like acting the maggot. Yeah, absolutely. 100%. And I think that was my importance of the book, was so I could have a parent, even, or a carer, look at that, hopefully look at the book and go, oh my God, now I understand why a child does that, or even an adult does that. Like, Jesus, that's what's going on. That could be what's going on, so I just think I wrote it for awareness that we all have needs. And, it's not just children or adults with special needs that has these issues. We all have them. We all have them in a unique way as well. And it's okay. But I just felt the importance of writing it, because I'm hoping that someone, and I know myself from writing it before, that it's been said to me, especially from children, which was just so beautiful. Like, one little lad said to me, that's me. I feel like that. And like, I was going, oh, bless, like, I love that. Because
So
I make it normal, because even today they were saying all this, and they were giving, oh, it was lovely just to hear all the different, and they're in their 20s, and I was like listening, and they're adults, like, and I was like, well, I'm the same. I don't like labels. They drive me crazy. And they were laughing and giggling, and they were going, oh, yeah. So they don't feel different, because they're not. Like, they're just unique. We all are.
yeah, it's
And
like a
that's the whole
release,
idea.
so like that release then when somebody hears you or witnesses or
Yeah,
understands how you feel, because like, you have to think of like the generations past when we were growing up, you're kind of told, basically you're not
yeah,
allowed to be, I suppose we didn't really have a voice. We weren't raised to have a voice.
absolutely. Yeah,
Not her type thing, be quiet and sit down and not make
yeah,
trouble or whatever. So you're
yeah,
repressing all of that and you're pushing
yeah,
all those feelings and those emotions down.
yeah.
And then that causes issues later on in life, as we know, depression,
100%.
anxiety, and then we don't know how to deal with that. And because we don't know how to deal with that, we pass that on to our kids. And the
Yeah,
same thing could be happening to them, and we're just completely out of touch with it. And then it causes a
yeah,
problem of connection between the
yeah.
parents and the children and stuff. So, like, to me, it's a fabulous book like that. Like you say, it's like an education and an awareness
Thank
to
you. Yeah,
parents to kind of connect to themselves and then back to the kids in a more
yeah.
empathic way. It's
Because
beautiful.
even that you're saying that, like, I did have adults say to me, who bought the book years ago, and said to me, God, Trisha, like, that book made me realize that was me, like, that was
Mm,
what way I was. And I went, oh, that's good, like. And then, so, oh yeah, no, but I was actually reading that going, Jesus, that was me. I was afraid to say anything, and that's
mm,
exactly how I felt. Oh my God. And I was going, well, that's good then, because that's what I was hoping, that it would
yeah,
trigger, because it's like your inner child as well. Do you know
yes,
what I mean? Yeah. So I
absolutely.
suppose I was hoping for that.
So powerful,
Yeah.
like it really is. Because I just feel even when you're saying it there, like it's like as if something that was silenced in you from when you were really little is getting a voice. That kind of way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, like that. I think it's kind of universal because we've all been children. We've all felt like
Yeah.
that. And you're never too old to kind of reconnect with that, I guess, and you
No,
probably
absolutely not.
yeah,
And it's like, in the world of healing, like, you have to heal your inner child. We all do. And I mean, sometimes we're a lot older before we get to do that, because there's a lot of work there, and we suppress it as a child. So
mm,
if you're able to, if you want to heal situations, so, you become a better person, a better parent, a better understanding, a more empathetic person, whatever it
mm,
follows, you will actually work on that. Do you know what I mean? And that's
mm,
something I suppose I've done a lot of work on myself as well. And
mm,
I just feel you'll always work on your inner child, and you
mm.
should never lose the child in yourself. I'm a big
Absolutely,
kid, like,
yeah.
big
And
kid
sometimes
at
we
heart.
connect. That's a part of it, I think, Trish. I really feel like women and a lot of people in middle age have forgotten the joy part of life,
Yeah,
forgot the fun side of it, take
yeah,
themselves seriously, keep life so seriously, and of course, you're not going to be in good form then. Your mental health isn't going to be great if you've
100%.
forgotten how to connect to that
Yeah.
inner child, to that playfulness.
Do you know, years ago, you hit on something there with me, a memory like I had. I was training with a mental health crowd, Hope D they were called, and I went and done a facilitating training, right? But it was very intense. It was very good, very intense. It was in a little log cabin in Wicklow for 2 days,
Uh-huh.
and we were brought right back to our own inner child. But there
Wow.
was a section now we hit on. It was, I got very emotional. There was lots of stuff that
Mm,
came up. I was going, oh God, I'm going mad. But it's brilliant.
mm,
If you
mm,
put in the effort, it's so good. But a part of it was so, oh, I loved it. We were told to go out into because there was acres of land. We were told to go out for an hour and just be a child. Well, I was up in the trees, and I was,
Oh,
it was the best
I'm
feeling
in
ever.
dreams again.
I am not joking here. And you do let yourself go and talk about amazing, because it works on your self-confidence then as well. And my issue would have been public speaking. I couldn't talk in front of people because,
Mm,
as a child, I suppose I had I won't say I had a stutter, but I had a bit of, pronunciations. I couldn't pronounce my words properly, or, so I'd get slagging over that, and it made me very self-conscious. Do you know what I mean? So, my thing I had to do for this facilitating training was public speaking. Sure, I cried before I did it in front of my circle. I was going, can't do it, can't do it.
Trish.
Have a little
Oh,
panic
wow.
attack, but then you do it and you feel so much release, like, and it is something you conquer. So it's fears constantly, but that thing about the inner child is so, so important, I think. Like, I mean, we were all like little kids running around. We were grown adults, if anyone's seen us.
Amazing.
But it was a great feeling.
To have that space to do that, because you know what I mean. When can you
Yeah,
do that in your kind of,
absolutely.
as adults, when we have all responsibilities and bills to
Yeah,
pay, and the shopping to do and work and everything like that, it's hard
yeah,
to get the space to be able to, like that, try to reconnect, and especially when
yeah,
sometimes, like, that's amazing that. And I know for myself as well, when you start to kind of tap into things I didn't realize were there, they were just hidden,
yeah,
like little rooms where there's no, the doors haven't been open yet, and
yeah,
the book seems to be like, it's like, and so many layers to it, because it's even like an invitation to start looking at that yourself as an adult, not just for children, or that
no,
kind
yeah,
of has that kind of invitation to
absolutely.
start to maybe connect with that. Like, it's a beautiful, and I suppose, like, when I hear you saying that again, I feel like there's so many life experiences put into the
Yeah,
story. There's so much, and that's probably why it's really powerful. When you're reading it, there's
yeah.
something that comes through, and I can sense the kind of power in the story, It's just
Oh, thank you.
it's
Yeah,
fabulous.
I know it's unusual for someone that writes their own book to say they love it, but I just love that book
Yeah.
because when I was writing it, like, it took about 2 years, to kind of put it
Mhm.
into action, because I'd get ideas and then it's going, no, hang on, no, I leave that for a while, and I had to come back to it
Mm.
because more ideas were coming in, and and as I do, like, I channel writing as well, and so I was going, no, I'll
Mm.
go with this now. So when I pieced it all together, it just fell into place. It was so strange, and even when
Mm.
I wrote it years ago, I knew there was more to it, but I didn't know what it was. At the time I thought, oh, I'll reach kids, I'll reach this. And now I realize it's so strange. I don't believe in coincidences, but the way it came around 8, 9 years later, to the
Mm.
day nearly.
Oh, is it
Yeah, to the day nearly. Like,
really?
a friend of mine texted me there last week and said, Trish, when you put up saying that you left your book in, look what's after coming up. And she said to me, I had actually written the book and published it out that time 8 years ago.
Wow,
I couldn't
that's
believe
so
it. Like,
weird, isn't
I
it?
know. Yeah.
There's nothing like coincidence, because I just said to you
No.
this time last year, I was thinking about you just a couple of weeks ago, and I was like, Trish is in my mind. And then you
Yeah.
contacted me, and I was like, will we meet up? And then my car broke down and we couldn't meet up. And
And
then the book, and then I said, no,
mine as well.
we'll have to get the
Oh,
interview for
weird.
the book. 'Cause it's like, and I was like, this time last year we met, isn't it so weird? It's like
Yeah.
everything happens for a reason. And
And
like
it's
I was,
nearly like it's to the day
yeah,
that it does happen. Because even with the
yeah,
book, when I actually got it Thursday, yesterday, that day last year, I was meant to, oh no, I think it was a few weeks before when I advertised it, saying I was getting it, I had left it in. To the same day I left it in as well, I had left it in, but I couldn't go ahead with it because I got
oh,
word about a house and I
yeah,
needed
yeah.
a deposit for that. So that was my priority at the time. I was going, it's okay, I'm going to do it.
It
But
was
to the
delayed.
day, like, yeah, but to the day yesterday, when I got it, I actually got the key to the house. We moved in. Like, we moved
Oh
in.
my
So I was
goodness.
going, wow, I was meant to do the house first before this.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
like,
Because
I
it's
love
like as
it.
if we
Like,
plan these, we try to plan things, and the universe laughs, 'cause it has
yeah,
its
not
own
yet, not yet.
timing, their own
Patience.
timing, like the
I
divine
know.
timing, as they call it. Yeah,
Divine time, absolutely, yeah.
no,
And it
so
is so true. And sometimes we don't like that because we have to have patience, but it's so worth it. Like, so this
that's,
time, yeah, it is the time. It is the
and
time
it's
now.
something that we had to learn, or something we had to do,
Yeah,
to overcome before,
yeah.
we had to bring it, to the world. And how did you find the creative process, Trish, of you know, I suppose the last couple of authors that I had on, we were just talking about that.
Yeah.
I suppose how it changes you to bring a book to the world, and then how, you know, I suppose, how did you find there was many fears you had to overcome in
Yeah, like
bringing that to
I
the book
suppose
to the world?
with
You know,
the
stepping
first,
out of yourself. You know, the way there is that
yeah,
kind of stepping out
you,
of yourself.
you actually have to step out your own way, number one.
Mm,
You know, because I did go through a battle of it for a couple of, and I leave it for another while. No, I won't do it yet. Fear takes over, you know, and you're kind of going, why did I let that happen? But you have to be mentally ready for it, because, and I suppose for me, it was more, am I ready for this now? Because I'm gonna do this on my own. I have
mm,
to, you know, market on my own. I have to get it out there. And this time it was bigger for me because I have a wider range to go to. So I want
mm,
to go to wellbeing centres. I want to go to the mental health sector. I want to go to intellectual disability sectors. And I have contacts in a few of them places. So I already know where I have to go, and that's not alone going to the bookstores and you know the basics that you have to do, but then I
mm,
have to launch it. But I don't want to just launch it once. I want to launch it in a few different sectors.
yes.
So I'm trying to round up a few different musicians and different
Yeah,
ideas to get together so we can have a launch for a certain thing, and then we can do this. But it's all for the book, but it's also for awareness.
of
So I'm hoping for the
course.
awareness to hit with mental health. It's a big thing for me.
Yeah.
And the other thing is for sensory issues and just intellectual disability. But
Mm,
also I want to help everybody, not
mm,
just in that sector. So it's kind of like I've a few areas to touch on. So I suppose I had to prepare for that. And I was kind of going, no, I don't think I'm ready yet now. I don't think so I had to be ready. And this time I was ready because I only got divorced there a few weeks ago. So everything had to be out of the way before I could
mm.
do this. So now I feel I'm ready. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm nervous and
Marriage.
I'm
Yeah.
overwhelmed, but I'm
Yeah.
ready. And like I do things with fear, and then afterwards go, oh God,
I
and
know.
that's the kind of person I am. So I like that about me
Yes,
because
you push
otherwise I wouldn't,
through.
yeah, otherwise I wouldn't do it. But this time I actually feel it's the time
Yeah.
for
Oh,
Róisín's journey.
it's
Yeah, yeah,
amazing, amazing, because like that, you know, we're talking about divine timing and, like, you know, just recently divorced as well, like, and
yeah,
saying that you have to do it on your own. It's a
yeah,
really becoming empowered, you
yeah,
know,
oh yeah,
feeling of, like, you know, that growing up of the inner child, nearly of, now I'm standing in Trish Kennedy, who I am and who I'm
absolutely.
here to be,
And
and do
own
what
it.
I'm yes, and do
Yeah,
what I'm here to do, you know, with
yeah,
confidence. And it does take, it's a bit of a journey to get there. It's
I
like
do.
it's
Yeah.
Trish's journey as well as Roisin's journey.
Yeah, that's the thing, exactly. 100% with that. And I mean, the amount of people that call me Róisín because of the book. I
Yeah.
met someone today, that's over the intellectual sector, and she was lovely, and she kept calling me Róisín, like, but
Oh,
it was so lovely to meet her, and yeah, there'll be stuff with that next week, like, so it's just loads happening, like, I'm
oh.
so excited, like,
Yeah, it really is. And I'm so thrilled for you, Trish, like, you know, because I know I'm thrilled to hear, you know, I suppose for me, Start Flourish by Design TV is about trying to spotlight people like yourself who have
thank you.
lived a life where they've understood there's something there that needs to be said,
Yeah,
or a sector that needs have a voice in the world, and then to kind of bring their creative skills and talents and their intuition to that, and to
yeah,
actually overcome their own fears and to go on their own journey of healing, to be able to bring that to the world. And it just has to be
yeah,
celebrated, because just it takes
absolutely.
so much inner strength to do that, and creativity, and, you know, really being in tune with what you're here to do. And I just, it's just an honor to be able to listen to you and watch
Oh,
you over the last year, seeing you kind of like, I suppose, the ups and downs, and everybody that I meet, Trish, like, you know, in the creative world like that, I suppose, in the well-being creative,
yeah,
I suppose, people who are trying to step into their own truth and bring that to the world, it seems to be the same thing where we have an
yeah,
idea we want to bring, but there's loads of obstacles happen to always come
100%.
in their way. And that's, it's like, you have to have that fortitude, you have to have that resilience, you have to have that inner strength to
Yeah,
push through And it's like what's in the way is the way. You know,
Yeah,
that
absolutely.
true
And it
bringing up,
leads you to it, doesn't it? Like
yeah,
it leads,
and you
because
overcome
I
so much.
feel, sorry, but you're
Yeah.
spot on there. Like you have to go through everything. And that's the thing. It's not like, you just decide, oh, I'm going to write this book and it's done and no hassle. I wish you have to go through every turmoil and you're throwing everything at you and you're going, oh Jesus, I can't. But you actually get through it. And that's why it's so important. And that's why today, even now, I'm kind of going, I'm doing it. I'm doing it. I'm doing
Yes.
it. Like it's mad since yesterday alone, right? This is the truth now. Thank you as well for bringing me on here as well, because you asked me that last week. Within that day, I got two or three different people contacting me. Would I come on, not even to do with Róisín's journey, about the show I do, the Real Talk show, but I come
Yes.
on and talk to someone in a group, and I says, yeah, no problem, like if you want me to. But it's not even that. It's just yesterday I got the books, and today I had so much to do. I met up with two people who are going to help me, like, get that book out, whatever,
Yes.
yourself. And I'm kind of going, God. And there's two other people that are, I'm meant to ring as well. I just missed their calls today. I was just trying to kind of get it into different areas and different fields. But one or two, they're all amazing. But there's one in particular that I kept seeing it happening. And I was going, I really need to get in there. So I'm praying that it does, because it's actually hits on the book in a very big way for me. Because
Yes.
to me, if I can, it's now, like I said to you, the book to me suits everybody. Okay, I
Yes.
hope. But it's certainly, oh,
You okay?
yeah, my thing went.
Oh
I
no, you're
had
back
a big
again.
white screen
Oh
come up.
no,
Sorry
really?
about
Oh
that.
no. We saw
Yeah.
you still.
But where was I going with that? Yeah, but to me, if it can help the child or the adult who feels different in any way, that's where I feel it, because that's where I know I have to reach deep, deep, deep in there. I know that's where the key is. If I can help that child or adult who doesn't feel different, or feels that they're different, if they are different, that they're unique, there's nothing wrong, that they own it and that they express it. And that's what I want to do, and I think that's what my book is about, really. That's what I feel.
Oh,
Yeah, that's what I
that's the
want it
heart
to be
of it.
about.
That's the core of it, really.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah.
Celebrating your
Because
unique.
we all feel that. We all feel something we're conscious of. We all feel something that, we don't like to talk about or don't want people to know about us, or feel that we're different. So we all have that, no matter who we are. And I don't want anybody labeled. I want everyone to own it and say, this is who you are.
I'm laughing when you said you don't want anyone labelled, and we were talking about the labels all the
I
time.
know.
Taking the labels off. So it's literally
I
you
put
don't want
labels
anyone
on.
labelled.
That's brilliant. That's why they come off.
Yeah, there you
Put the
go.
labels.
You got to the root of it. You're snipping off all the labels.
No obstacles. Oh, it's true.
That's brilliant, Trish. And
Uh,
would you like to read another little piece to
yeah.
finish off that you'd
Okay.
like, maybe like that might have a tool in it or something about mindfulness or something
So
else?
I'll do that. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, now just bear with me for a second. I'll
Yeah,
find the
no problem.
page.
Or any other part that you think that you'd like to share that
I'll
you
do the part where Annabelle actually comes to visit her, right?
okay,
Where
beautiful.
she actually is feeling a bit low or whatever.
Okay, lovely.
Now let me see, where am I? Yeah, it's back here. Okay. I did this part as well today and I loved it. Scarce, that's all falling into the same area.
Gorgeous.
But yeah, so I said about the Róisín going, did I say, oh yeah, I didn't go on to say, like, so in it, I don't want to give the whole book away, but
Yeah.
in it, she's having her meltdown and all. So she ends up going to her room then, all right, after that, after a while, and is more relaxed and all. So her room is her kind of sacred space, I suppose you would call it,
Sanctuary.
Yeah, exactly. So let me see now, where am I? I'll just do this because it's linking into the same story. Mum, here I go here. There was a certain situation or places that Róisín found it difficult to handle. Róisín sometimes found it hard to express how she felt. Did I read that part already? No.
No, I
Her
don't think
mum, her mum felt she couldn't do enough to help her. She knew her little girl was frustrated. Róisín had a special comfort. It was her favourite scarf, and it made her feel calm and relaxed. Her mum looked everywhere for the special wool so Róisín could wear it. Mum found it in a little fabric shop in the village. The lady who worked there ordered them in especially, and it took almost 2 weeks. The wool didn't irritate Róisín's skin. Her mum was so relieved to see Róisín was relaxed. Róisín went upstairs to her room once again, and she wished she didn't feel all alone. Just then, her bedroom became very bright. Róisín gasped in amazement. So as I was reading that today, I'll tell you it now, but as I was reading that today, I stopped and told the adults this as well, so they understood what it meant. Like I was saying, so she started to relax, and she probably went not into a sleep, but do I teach you mindfulness? So that's
Mm,
kind of what she went into now, and
okay.
they
Stillness.
understood what I meant then,
Yeah,
So
yeah.
and like there's the picture. So I showed them then the picture, of the
Mm,
fairy.
beautiful.
So she wasn't scared. Hi, maybe I can help you, a little voice whispered, soft and low. Who are you? Róisín heard herself say. My name is Annabelle, she said softly. Annabelle had bright, red, shiny hair. Her blue eyes sparkled. Delicate wings of silver and white fluttered gently behind her. They gave off an amazing glow which lit up the room. Róisín wasn't sure what was happening. Where had this gorgeous fairy come from? Róisín longed to ask the fairy why she had come to see her. Annabel smiled at Róisín and asked her if it was okay if she came by her side. Róisín nodded and nervously said yes. Annabel said gently, I am your special friend. If you are lonely or sad, if you are anxious or worried, I can help you. Róisín thought for a moment and asked, so does that mean you can help me with my homework test? Annabel smiled and said, of course, I can help you understand the words and numbers in a simple way. Little Róisín's face lit up. She felt pure love around her. Finally, something good was happening. I'll just read the next one because it gives a kind of an idea. So there's colour ins. Róisín was in deep thought. She stared quietly for a moment. Can you help me feel happy again? Róisín asked shyly. I find it hard to make friends and to tell people how I feel when I get upset. I feel lonely and sad. Róisín's eyes filled with tears. Annabel replied, I can help you with all of these things, giving a heartwarming smile. I can help you, but first you must try talk about your feelings, she suggested. Getting tongue tied there. So she's sitting down by her bed now, aside
Oh,
talking for now. In her. So
yeah.
Annabel asked Róisín, have you ever tried to breathe properly? Of course I can breathe, Róisín replied, laughing. Annabel asked Róisín to take long, slow breaths. Róisín began doing the short exercise. Annabel got Róisín to take a deep breath in through her nose and out through her mouth. She asked her to do this 3 times. Róisín thought it was a bit silly. However, as she did the exercise, she noticed she really did feel a little different. And all her anxieties vanished and she started to relax. So it goes kind of on into different, in a meditative state, but as
Yes.
a child would read it, it's some fantasy place. And,
Yeah.
it goes on, and really at the
Oh,
end of it, I do a little teaching in the end of it, just telling the child or the adults if they want to practice it to try this. And then I have a glossary at the end of it as well to explain the words in the book, that the way they were used, what they meant.
yes.
Yeah,
Oh,
but
Trish, it's so good. It's so rich is the word I would say. It's rich with in color and in just content. Like there's so much in each sentence, even, like the empathy and then the tools and then the practices and everything. It's fabulous. Like it really, really is. I just loved hearing you read it. You have a great way of reading it actually as well. There's a lovely power that comes across in your voice. So would you feel like you'd love to go and do readings in schools? And what's your dream?
Yeah, definitely. I know I did that before, and that was something that the principals of the schools loved. You know, there was a load of teachers. I just get lost in it because I like public speaking was one of my big issues, you know, and I feel I overcame it by doing the readings, and
Yes.
the child, you know, the children asking me all the questions, and it didn't bother me. I was literally in my element, sitting there because I would have had a problem with, you know, myself, like confidence kind of, or everyone's looking now, all the adults are there, shit, they're, you know, excuse my language, but I would have been like that kind of thing, you know, whereas now I kind of go, I don't mean this in a bad way, but I only see the people that are meant to see in that little setting. And so I'm not worried about other people. I'm worried about, I suppose I'm more so there just to help if I can, and I explain the detail of the book in the best way I can, and for the child or the adult to understand the actual storyline, you know, that kind of way.
That's amazing. It's fabulous that you've had to, it's nearly like you had to overcome anxiety yourself to bring the book to the world, you know, and to be that voice and to be the person, like, and that you're focusing on the people who you're helping. So, you know, you're doing that, your service that you're here to do kind of thing through it, you know, it's amazing. And I'm like, even though for myself, like I suffer from the anxiety as well, but I wanted to, you know, for being a lecturer, I always wanted to be a lecturer. And then I just thought, but how would I stand up in front of everybody like that with shyness from, well, we used to be called, it's funny, I was thinking about this the other day, like we used to call anxiety shyness, I think, when we were kids.
That's right.
Shyness, like, oh, she's very shy. And I'm sort of, I had to overcome shyness. But really, when I was thinking about it, I didn't even know it was anxiety.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
100%.
So then I realized, like, you know, you have your practices of what to do to kind of overcome it. But like yourself as well, there's this resilience behind that you will, no matter what, because you want to bring that message to the world, you will do it.
Yeah, and you feel it, don't you? You
Yeah.
just feel that this is something I have to help someone with,
Yes,
so they
it's a
don't
calling.
feel like this. Yeah,
Calling. That's what I call it. It's a
yeah,
calling. A
yeah. That's
call
it.
out of yourself to be
Yeah,
larger than who you thought you were. And
yeah.
there's some power in that's beyond us
Oh, yeah. And
that
it's
I,
so rewarding as well,
yeah,
because you yourself have conquered a fear that's massive. That was huge for you as a child or even a teenager growing into an adult. And, you know, the older you get, it is true what to say, the wiser you get with things, because you realize if you don't talk about that, like, you're going to get nowhere. And maybe if you can't talk about it, try and express it in a different way. So
yes,
the creativity is definitely a way to express
hugely,
things. I love it. Like, it's
hugely,
my key
huge.
to everything.
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly. It's so, like, you know, I suppose it's just like that. It's another way of voicing it, you know, and then a way of
yeah.
connecting with people, and then in an enjoyable way, you know, like
And
you
it's
enjoy
true,
it.
isn't
Like
it?
everyone loves reading books. Everyone loves,
Yeah.
you know, it's an enjoyable thing. It's not
And
difficult.
it's like singers, you know, it's like artists, it's like public speakers, or you know, whatever you do in a creative way, that's your way of expressing yourself. And that
Absolutely.
gets you're yourself out of, you know,
Of
your
your
little self.
Yeah,
Yeah, your
yeah,
little
your
inner
small
child.
self, you get all tight in that little bud, like I'm not talking about, you know, bud blossom and flourish. It was like we
Yeah,
always were when we were tight in that bud. That's when we were suffering. But when we start opening
yeah,
ourselves, then we feel that relief, and then you're sharing that with everybody else, like your beauty, and
yeah.
you're really sharing your beauty, Trish. And I'm so thrilled. Thank you so much
Oh,
for coming on, and we're just nearly at the hour
thank
now.
you so much.
I just loved listening to it. Just flew by, and I'd love you to share, like, where can people get, if you want to buy this for Christmas, or if anybody who they feel will listen to this, that their children or nieces or nephews or grandkids or whatever that would love it or would connect with it, where can they get the book, Trish?
So at the moment, it's only out since yesterday. So at the moment, I'm setting up a PayPal account, and my daughter's going to help me set up a Revolut account, so
Ooh,
I can do it through that. And if there's people that, you know, wanted postage, we'll do the postage and packaging. But then you can just contact me on Facebook on my page, Trish B Kennedy, or I have a Róisín's Journey page, but you can contact me on my main page if you like, or Instagram. I have to advertise more on Instagram. I don't really use it that much.
Yeah.
It's usually TikTok and Facebook I use now for all of this because, you know, I try to reach everybody, you know, but I was told today I need to start using Instagram a little bit more because I actually don't, and they're right. So yeah, but you could get me on either of them, and like I said, I've set up a PayPal account. I will be setting up Revolut because some people don't have PayPal and might have Revolut. So yeah, and I can organise it then. Just PM me, or it's not PM anymore. I was told by my daughter as well.
Oh, it's
Matt, it's
DM.
not PM, it's DM. All right. I'm real old school. And
It's
she
hard to
goes,
keep up, isn't it?
what's
We need the
DM,
young
Ma? And
ones.
I said, private mail, isn't it? Private message. Oh no, Ma, it's direct message. Oh, right,
Yeah.
okay. So yeah, so just even a text or whatever, and I can organise it, like get your dresses and post it off, or I can deliver if it's local, no problem.
Yeah, exactly. And you're going to be doing signings. You're going to be doing launches. You keep it. Where we find out about that on your Facebook page?
Yeah, I'm going to put everything up as soon as I have dates scheduled. I have a few people coming back to me. I know I have a well-being angel shop that I'm going to be doing a launch in soon. So I have to ring her tomorrow and find out what date suits her. And then I'll be putting it all up on Facebook. And then I'm hoping to get it in a few bookstores as well. And hopefully the Whitewash as well, because they mentioned it to me as well, that they'll email me and they'll give me a table or something. So yeah, so I'm going to be everywhere I can be.
Brilliant. I'm
Yeah.
delighted, Trish. I'm really looking forward to it. And we'll come on again to tell us like how the launch went in a couple of months and check in to see how the response is. You know, I'd love to hear all that.
Caroline.
You know?
No, thank you so much. Yeah, I definitely will. I'll be on anytime you want me to. Thanks
and
so
also
much for
Real
everything.
Talk. We haven't talked about that, but you have a Real Talk show on Facebook as well. And that's great. That's really worth people checking into as well. We're just talking to real people about real situations. And again,
that's it. And sometimes
labels off.
I cut them labels off, exactly. And that's it. Like, you know, I come on it myself and I do a video on TikTok or whatever, but it might just be my own face, but it's my words. And I just want to touch on subjects that people are afraid to talk about. So mental health would be huge. Even just feeling insecure in themselves. So I have a few little videos that I done just to help people realize they're not on their own. Like, we're all human, we're all feeling it. So, you know, to try and get the stigma
for adults,
away.
like I think, because you know, I find that like whatever I do, sometimes I go, God, there's a thread of a message that comes through everything that I do, and it's just it. Sometimes it's for kids, sometimes it's for adults, sometimes it's for women, it's for business. It's the same thing, really.
Absolutely.
You know, that we're trying to say all again, and we all were saying in a different way, you know. And it's Trish, that you have this calling in yourself to become larger in the world because you're such a beautiful person. And we met.
I love you.
In person, like, which was fabulous, wasn't it? You know, the way when we were so used to just meeting in Zoom, and then we actually had to. We met in person in Kildare.
It was lovely.
And it was so lovely to meet you. Like, it was amazing. It was like you popped into 3D.
It was amazing. I know. It's the same with you. It was great.
Yeah, you were the same person in person. You were just as warm and lovely as you are.
Thank you. Same with you, Caroline. You were the exact same as well.
You know,
lovely, like, and it's refreshing when it's like that, isn't it?
Yeah, it was really fabulous. So I'm looking forward to meeting you again.
Yes, of course.
And in person again. And take care. And
thank
you everybody for watching, and wishing the very, very best. Huge success with it, Trish. And I'm so happy to see it come into the world after, you know, the last, I suppose, since it's first published 8 years ago, and since I met you last year. So thank you so much, and thanks everybody for listening. And I'll be back here again next Saturday with another guest. And thanks for watching and listening, and comment below. And I'll leave a link for Trish's Facebook page and contact details under this as well. So okay, everyone. Talk to you again soon, and thanks for watching.
Thanks
Bye.
a million.
Thank
you. Take care.
Bye.
Bye now. Bye. Thank you.